So I was made aware of this amazing, magical article on Forbes. Batwoman is getting IMDb and Rotten Tomato review bombed for its lesbian lead. Now, I've seen the first episode of Batwoman, and I thought it was so bad that I'm legit going to make it my next video. After I'm done with the video I'm doing now, I am making a video about, and I normally don't do movies and stuff. I'm thinking about making the swap, but Batwoman might be the thing that pushes me over the edge. Because I'm going to do a video about how terrible Batwoman is. Because it is bad. It is, I'd say it's probably the worst episode of a TV show I've ever seen. Well, I don't know. Because there was that one that I saw, Torchwood. That was, geez, they're both so terrible. I don't know which one's worse, though. Torchwood might actually be worse. But Batwoman is absolutely terrible. I mean, as if you wouldn't be able to tell from the trailers. Today, in sadly not surprising news, in the wake of its debut this past Sunday, the newest addition to the Arrowverse, the CW's Batwoman, is currently getting roasted by fans, and he has fans in quotes. And here's the thing. The people who would be upset the most about taking a property and making it terrible would be fans. Duh. Fucking duh. It's like when people say, oh, it's the Star Wars fans who just seem to be the most upset about it, and they think that's ironic or something. No, the people who have an investment in the character of Batwoman, who have an investment in the comics, and I don't have any investment in the comics, but the people who care about the Arrowverse, the people who would care about the character, the people who want this character to be portrayed in a good way, of course they would be upset. Of course fans would be upset by that. Why would that even... What is a real fan supposed to be, Paul? Is it supposed to be someone who just claps like a fucking seal for next product and then consumes next product? Batwoman currently sits at a 3.2 out of 10 and an 8% audience score on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, respectively. Yeah, because it's fucking terrible. It is absolutely terrible. No, I don't want to click... No. What did that come from? Oh, I screamed over Batwoman. Batwoman TV series, 3.1 out of 10. I think that's being way too generous on IMDb. 8%, 10% on Rotten Tomatoes now? Yeah, that sounds about right. By the way, Batwoman is sitting at a higher rating than Joker. Just interesting. Let's see, in theaters, it should be right up here. Where is Joker? Yeah, Joker's at a 68% on the tomato meter. 90% audiences like it. Batwoman is rated higher by critics than Joker. Welcome to Bizarro Clown World. Boop, boop, boop. Anyway. The Flash is, and the Arrow is that, and Legends of Tomorrow, the Supergirl. Supergirl's rated really low. The reason Supergirl's rated really low, I fucking hate this, make this go away. No, fuck! Ugh, I hate this thing where you scroll over a name and shit pops up. But yeah, you can go onto YouTube and look at clips of Supergirl compilations of scenes. Oh man, it's terrible. Supergirl is some bad stuff. You can say the order of those may be subjective. Obviously it is. But they're all hovering in the same range. It's almost like the CW makes pretty terrible shows. Not so with Batwoman, which has Ruby Rose playing Kate Kane, Bruce Wayne's cousin, who has a passion for social justice and a flair for speaking her mind. A flair for speaking her mind. I mean, she just says whatever she wants, and she has no charisma, and all of her lines are clunky, and her dialogue is awkward. But then again, that goes for pretty much every character in the whole episode. I'm telling you, if you guys haven't seen this Batwoman show, either see it now or wait for my video on it, because, dear God, it is fucking awful. She's also a lesbian, as Kate Kane is in the comics. Okay, so people obviously don't have a problem with her being a lesbian, because she's a lesbian in the comics. People don't give a shit if she's a lesbian. That's not people's problem. And the pilot includes a storyline about her ex-love interest who decided to stay in PMC training despite anti-gay persecution, while Kane left and refused to bow to the pressure. You can argue that, well, Batwoman is just bad as an explanation for these low scores. And that's probably, yeah, that's what I would argue. I would argue that Batwoman is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. But I mean, after watching the pilot, it's certainly not significantly worse than any pilot we've seen out of the Arrowverse so far. Now, I can't say for certain because I haven't seen the other Arrowverse pilots, but if anything, saying that it's not significantly worse than any of the other Arrowverse pilots, dear God, what you're essentially saying the other Arrowverse shows are garbage as well. Because again, Batwoman's really, really bad. Basically, everything about it is terrible. I honestly can't really point to anything that's good about it. The action is fine. No, the action's fucking terrible. Rose as good as Kane. No, fuck no. Ruby, terrible, absolutely fucking terrible actress. And there's nothing to warrant, well, she's terrible in this. I think she was in John Wick 2. I liked her in that. But Jesus Christ, what a terrible actress for this character. And there's nothing to warrant these rock bottom audience scores unless, well, you're wrong in everything that you've said so far. The action is not fine. The action's terrible. And the music that they use for the action, what did Mahler say? It's like a 10-year-old wrote it, which might be insulting to 10-year-olds. This is a review bombing campaign to some extent, something that sites like Rotten Tomatoes said they were going to push back against for at least movies. So, to some extent, how do you find out if it's a review bomb because they're lesbians? What if the show is so fucking terrible, and you're just wrong about the show being terrible? What if the show is so fucking terrible that it's obvious to everybody? And I think most people who have watched this are gonna be pretty hard. They're gonna be pretty hard pressed to convince themselves that Batwoman is a good episode. This is a review bombing campaign, blah blah blah. But that does not seem to take an effect for TV shows. Yeah, because these shows apparently are crap. What I've seen of these shows is crap. Batwoman is crap. Here are some quotes among the most helpful reviews of Batwoman. The hero with whom the viewer is supposed to identify is a short-haired, angry, and overbearing biker lesbian. In short, the writers wrote her to be the most unlikable stereotype one could think of. Yeah, that is helpful because that accurately describes the protagonist. This is a spot-on representation of the protagonist. She's unlikable in every way. She's angry and bitchy. She assaults an innocent guy at one point for no... She's an extremely unlikable character. And it ain't because she's lesbian. This show, if anything, she is made to be lesbian at the expense of any other relatable character traits. She's just a bitch, is a good way to describe the protagonist. We have no real reason or context for why she's doing pretty much anything that she's doing. There's no establishment of backstory that's believable or relatable. This show gets, by the way, for those of you who don't know, the first episode's about 42 or so minutes, allowing for commercials, I suppose. We already establish who Ruby Rose is, the love interest, who the villain is, who the main villain is, the main villain's secret identity, the fact that she's already Batwoman, she has already taken the Batsuit, completely redone it, she has mastered the gadgets, and this is in one episode. The first episode, she's already done this stuff. I was told that Daredevil didn't get his signature red suit until the last episode of the first season, and I've heard good stuff about Daredevil. The show's pacing it's like you're on a freight train that ain't got no brakes. It just keeps scene. It's insane. This next one. This show is made by and for the progressive lunatic fringe, and there's too few of them to pay for such shows. This is also proof that Hollywood is in a bubble outside reality, and that is sad for the population at large. Now, I agree with that for some extent. I definitely believe that a lot of showrunners and producers who live in that Hollywood environment are absolutely in a bubble. Rotten Tomatoes. I love strong and empowered women characters, but not when they stop every 10 seconds to remind me how strong and empowered they are. Yeah, it's strange and distracting, and that's not how actual humans behave. Oh, and also that they're a woman, of course. We don't need politics in TV. We need good stories in writing. I don't know about we don't need politics in TV. I would say that when your politics supersede everything else about the show, like good stories and good writing and relatable characters, then yeah, that's definitely a huge problem. Next quote. A horrible sexist SJW mess. It's not that SJW. My issues with Batwoman aren't really that it's super SJW or anything, or that it's super feminist. My issues are that it's just fucking terrible. It's got terrible writing, bad pacing, it's awful fight scenes, terrible choreography, bad acting. It's a mess. You'll see when I release my video. On IMDb, you can only see usernames, but on Rotten Tomatoes, they at least have first names listed for fan reviews, and sometimes photos. Of the first 100 reviews I counted, 95 appear to be written by men. Ugh. Those men watching their superhero movies. Ugh. 2 of the 5 women gave it a positive score. The only 2 positive scores I saw out of all 100. Alright, well, they're fucking wrong. I could probably keep... So the 3 women out of 5 who didn't give it a positive score, did they not like it because of... Do they hate lesbians too? Do they not like lesbians? Or did they recognize that the show is a fucking disaster, and if anything, makes women look worse? If I was a woman, and this show was being propped up as representation for me, I would be fucking appalled. I would want my money back. I'm definitely not saying that Batwoman is some masterpiece. Oh, I don't think anyone's saying that. But it does not take the world's greatest detective. Detective, why is that a... More on this topic from Forbes. Ugh. To figure out what's happening here, even if many of the negative reviews don't reference sexuality or politics. Yeah, it's almost like it's a shit show regardless of sexuality or politics. Batwoman is certainly no worse in the script and action department than the early episodes of these other Arrowverse series. Jesus Christ, man, if that's the case, that's a condemnation of the rest of the Arrowverse. That ain't lifting up Batwoman, that's dragging all the other shows down. The CW does have other shows with LGBTQ characters. It took a few seasons, but Sarah Lance is now leading Legends of Tomorrow, where she's bisexual. Supergirl's Kara's sister to be gay. Batwoman is starting out with a concept front and center for its lead, not just as a part of her identity, but also a key component in her backstory and her relationship with many of the main characters. Well, no, her lesbian-ness really only relates to, so far at least, I've only seen the first episode. I can't wait to see the rest. They're probably terrible. I'm so excited. But so far, her lesbian-ness only relates to her, at least this is just the first episode, just her love interest, or her ex girlfriend. But yeah, also if part of your protagonist's identity is that they're lesbian, you already fucked up. Like if your identity is your sexuality, maybe pick something a bit more substantive. Maybe pick something that has a bit more to do with your principles or your values, or things that you choose or things that you believe or have learned. I expect once the trolls dissipate, the score will rise in time. Maybe. The CW has its fan base, and Batwoman looks to be a perfectly fine addition to it. Oh, what an incredible condemnation of the rest of the CW shows. Ugh, if Batwoman is a fine addition to the rest of your lineup, oh, man. Oh, you're like the... No, I was about to say you're the Neil Breen of superhero shows, but that would legit be an insult to Neil Breen. But we'll have to see what the future episodes bring. But it's clear what's happening in these initial fan reviews, and as ever, it's very gross. Thanks, fucking Paul, for your extremely insightful commentary on, people hate lesbians. Good job. That's quality journalism. Quality fucking journalism. Ugh. Maybe that's why you can't even read Forbes until you disable ad block. And once you do, you get massive ads all over the place. Forbes is one of the... Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at all these ads. Fucking hell. Yeah. What a shitty article. Batwoman's terrible. If you couldn't gather it. And I would encourage you, if you have an eye for criticism of film and media, if you have an eye for trying to critique writing in characters and story, composition of films... Also, all of that stuff. And it doesn't matter if you're just casually into it or if you're really super big into it. I would legit encourage you to go and watch the first episode of Batwoman, because it is an abortion, okay? It is terrible. It's so bad, we laughed our asses off about it. In the description, I'll put a link to EFAP. We watched it. Mahler, myself, Fringy, and Metal. We all watched it, and oh man, it's bad. It is some bad stuff. Check it out. But of course, we knew this was going to happen. We knew that you would have journos come out and say, "Oh, it's because people don't like lesbians." So, like, no, it's because people generally tend to like good things, and Batwoman, the crossover of good things and Batwoman, those two circles don't quite meet up on the Venn diagram. If you catch my drift. Anyway, I'm working on some videos, and I'm serious. Because I'm kind of getting a little tired of talking about politics all the time as like a main channel thing. I would definitely like to start going into film and game criticism a whole lot more. And I think Batwoman was the special kind of bad that really makes me want to go, hey, now that's something that I think I could be motivated to talk about. So you guys have an amazing day.